You're listening to Into the Disappearing, the podcast where we explore the people who vanish and the strange weight they leave behind. I'm Marin Blake. Tonight we head to the Pacific Northwest, to the gray waters of the Columbia River, where a 42-year-old barge deckhand vanished during his shift after reporting something strange. Not a storm, not another boat, but lights moving beneath the surface. This is episode 16, The Lights Beneath. The Columbia River is vast, over 1,200 miles long, a working river, a historical artery. Along its banks sit shipyards, canneries, paper mills, and logging towns that still carry the smell of salt and oil. It was on March 2nd, 2024, near Clatskanie, Oregon, that veteran deckhand Russell Harlow went missing during an overnight barge run between Portland and Astoria. No storms, no foul play, just an empty deck. And the last words he spoke over the radio, "I see something down there. They're moving." Russell was reliable, quiet, lived alone in a rental cabin just east of Rainier. Divorced, no children. He worked the river for almost 15 years, long shifts, tight crews, hard work. Everyone who knew him said the same thing. He didn't scare easy. I spoke with his supervisor, Captain Derek Vaughn, who was on shift the night Russell disappeared.
Russ always radioed in when he checked the stern lights. Routine. At 2:07 a.m., he said, "Looks good." Then, 30 seconds later, he comes back on. Voice low, not panicked, just strange. He said, "There's lights down there. I think they're coming up." That was it. Just static after that.
The barge, the Esther Gale, was secured. Inspections confirmed no safety issues. There were no waves, no signs of impact, nothing disturbed. The life ring was still clipped. His gloves were on the rail, but Russell was gone. Search crews combed both riverbanks. Drones scanned the waterline. Sonar scans came up empty. No body, no clothing, no evidence of falling or jumping, just a report and the river. But it wasn't just what Russell said over the radio that chilled the crew. It was what they found later that morning, when daylight burned off the fog. Wet footprints, barefoot on the metal deck, leading toward the edge. Not from the center, not from the stairs, just 6 damp footprints appearing out of nowhere. The prints were narrow, long, the toes unusually pointed. The Coast Guard logged them as unconfirmed, citing condensation or crew error. But the crew insisted they weren't there before, and they weren't made by any boots on that barge. I visited Clatskanie 2 weeks ago. A small town, quiet, spread out, timber trucks still rumbling through the hills. I met with Genevieve Larson, a retired sonar technician and amateur diver who's lived near the Columbia her whole life. She heard about Russell's case and said she wasn't surprised.
Every few years, someone goes missing out here, and it barely makes the paper. Fishermen, river techs, folks on night watch. I've had sonar hit things that shouldn't be moving. Lights in the deep. Shapes where there's no trench. You want my guess? That river's older than we know. And not everything in it's just water.
For decades, there have been quiet stories among river workers. Not sea monsters or ghost ships, nothing that outlandish. Just sightings. Lights where there shouldn't be lights. Surfaces rippling from underneath, not above. Metal pulled down unexplainably. Divers refusing to go below a certain depth near old dredge sites. One deckhand in 1983 reported a column of blue light that traveled under the hull of his ship for nearly 20 seconds, then disappeared as suddenly as it came. He said the water felt wrong for hours afterward. He quit 2 days later. Russell's disappearance was officially ruled an unexplained occupational incident. But even months later, questions linger. Why no splash? Why no noise? Why those prints? And why, after Russell's disappearance, did sonar operators report an intermittent ping in the area where he vanished? A rhythmic pulse? Every night at 2:07 a.m. for 5 days straight? After that, it stopped. Just silence. I reached out to Russell's younger brother, Alan, who now keeps his phone on silent after 10 p.m. He says he sometimes dreams of Russell knocking, wet, barefoot, at his door. He never opens it in the dream. He just hears him say, "It's underneath." Russell Harlow was 42. He loved black licorice, cheap spy novels, and always wore 2 pairs of socks on shift. He hated fishing, ironically, but he knew the river better than anyone, and still the river took him. Or something in it did. If you have information about Russell's disappearance or sightings of similar phenomena on the Columbia River, contact the Clatsop County Sheriff's Marine Patrol Unit. Next week, we return to the Midwest for a decades-old case. A girl who vanished inside a schoolhouse during a tornado drill, and whose name has since been erased from official records. Until then, I'm Marin Blake. Stay aware, stay afloat. And if you see lights beneath the water, don't follow them.
When the night gets bright and the stars align, we stir up dreams in cosmic time. A little stardust, a little tune, you're mixing it with the moon.